Hi guys, you're in the right place if you want to learn how to draw by understanding what you're looking at rather than breaking things down into shapes. And today we're going to be doing an American crow. So a big thank you to Julie Ford for use of your gorgeous photo for today's lesson. And a big thank you to Paris. Paris Adarac wrote in and asked for a lesson about sketching a crow. So here we are. So as usual, you need your scrap piece of paper, a pen that is going to behave itself for you. No, that's secondary, but I would like you to grab a colored pencil. So today I'm going to use black, but just something cheap and crappy or whatever, where you can do light pressure and get some lighter tones down, and then heavier pressure to get some contrast and some shading. Okay, so we'll do the bulk of the coloring in using a colored pencil. So these are very large birds. Their wingspan can be 2 to 2.5 feet. They're quite heavy. There's a lot of bulk through the wings when they're folded on the back. So what we want to do today is really kind of capture this sense of a large, heavy bird. So if we, just for where you start on your page, if we look at the tip of the bill and go straight down, we see that the majority of the bird is to the right. So be aware of that, depending, when you choose your starting point on your page. So I would like to actually start at the forehead right here. We see how there's a very small curve in front of the eye. And so if we can just try to get some of these minor details down, well, everything is kind of important, right? And I would like you to go super small if you can. And then let's go to the sketch in the top of the head, past the eye, to the crown, and then we've got this slope at the back of the head. And then the back of the neck, and this big curve that drops down. So I really want to get this beautiful twist in the head. Now, this angle down, I would like you to try to get this angle down, because I think the tendency is for your pen to go out straight a little bit more. So if it feels like you're going straight, force your pen down. So we have this sense that the bird has their head tilted. This big, heavy bill. And the bottom mandible is not quite straight back. If you can angle it a little bit or curve it a little bit, that's all right. So much the better. And then into underneath the chin, and we just see a very little bit at the top of the throat. Now let's split the mandible. It's going to help us stay a little bit oriented when we go back into the face. And here we see this, the face feathers stop, and this big heavy bill starts the upper mandible. Completely different from any of the little songbirds and warblers that we've done in the past. So thank you, Paris, for helping us push our limits. Now for the eye, in your sketch, I want you to do a small eyeball, please. And see how close it is to the top of the head. So, and how close it is to the bone of the upper mandible. So just, I want you to do something small. You can always make it larger later, but we're not doing anything teeny tiny, or sorry, you know what I mean. I want a small eyeball. Let's shut up and try to concentrate on what I'm doing, rather than listening to the front door or for my son coming home and banging around the kitchen at lunch. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Now we've got a little bit of the chin that we see. Now, see this is the middle of the back here, right here. And then we've got one shoulder and the other shoulder. So in our sketch, choose the middle of the back, you know where it should be, and just, we've got to put in one shoulder, and then we could, just to show the twist in the body. Got the other shoulder coming back and out. I should have done it a little bit higher, because look how much distance I have here, and it should be a lot less. So move it up. I'm going to move mine up quite a bit. This is the upper shoulder, middle of the back, and drop to the shoulder and the outer part of the wing. That's a bit better. And I've given him a flat part here. I'm gonna round that out. Okay, now I'm super proud of us for doing our lesson about the names of the feathers, because I do feel it's going to help us stay oriented when we're doing sketches of these larger birds. So what we know is all these little tips of feathers, these tips of feathers that we see here, we know that these are the lesser coverets, and this row right here are going to be the median coverets. So when we're thinking about the wing, we know that we could, when we're sketching these in, we can put in the lesser coverets here. We do see the median coverets underneath. Don't have to be exact, but just put in some of the tips. And this row right here, these are all the greater coverets that we know come out. So we can bring down the edges of these feathers and see how it's an angled, the way it ends. Those tips of the feathers. And then these are going to be the greater coverets on the other wing, the edges that we see. But you can just give the impression of some of those. You don't have to be exceptionally detailed. Now, these feathers here at the edge, these are also going to be coverets, and I think these right here are going to be the alula. And I'm kind of worried that I'm not getting the same amount of bulk that I want to with this. So I'm worried that I'm not pushing them out far enough. So I think I want to stop over here, but let's go on this side. This is going to be a secondary. These are the secondary feathers and the stack of secondaries. So let's get these in, push it out past the bill. And we know the secondaries. Oh, sorry, I'm not watching my angle. Push these back. And then we've got the stack of secondaries underneath. We'll go back to the greater coverts. And then here we see the end of the primary, and these are the primaries here. Just see how square these feathers are. Push out the primaries. I'll bring these back to the wing. Now all of these right here are tail feathers. This is the wing here. So we're getting this nice sweep for the wing. Bring all these back, and then we've got the alulas here at the edge. Primaries. But I'm just concerned that I don't have the proper width here. I might bring this up a little bit more. Okay, now if we go back here, this is the outside of the rib cage, and then going into the lower part of the stomach. And it almost follows nicely from the back of the neck. Sweep that down. We want to have the outer rib cage, the bottom of the tummy, okay, let's go back and put in the tail. Now the crows have square tail feathers. A raven, the ravens are larger, but I tell you, like, they're both like really big birds, and unless you see them side by side, it's hard to tell, oh, is that a crow or is that a raven? But a raven will have a V at the tail, so we want to make sure that we've got this square. Get on in these tail feathers. And then here we've got this upper thigh. And a big heavy leg. Some loose feathers. And then this is his other thigh. It's kind of all messy and confusing because of the lighting and the shadow and stuff like that, but we know that he's got a solid upper leg. We know that he's got a solid leg. We have a pretty good idea that the toes are going to be thick as well. Okay, that's not too bad. Now here, this is the front part of his foot going around the branch of the tree, and this is his upper toe, and this is the claw. Here, this is his back toe coming toward us with his claw. So why don't we just try getting that in? We know it's going to be a solid foot. I'm not going to have a dainty little foot on such a heavy bird. Okay. God, lots and lots and lots of fixing to do. So how about we just go through your sketch and make corrections where necessary. And meet you in 45 minutes to an hour. I feel like I've got lots of cleaning up that I want to do. There's this little bump of the eye, top of the head. Oh, I have a nice curve around, and then a drop to sort of get the impression of the flexibility of the neck. Let's push this shoulder up a little bit more. And then if the body needs to be a little bit heavier, I feel like I need to do that with mine. Just add some weight. And make sure that there is some distance between the leg and the body, because they do sit upright. This right here is a shadow. So, but I think what we'll do is we'll just shade this in. And then this curve of the other wing. And then these secondaries that are coming out. Are they out far enough? If I think it's not too bad. Did you push the feathers out? Because if you didn't push these feathers out far enough, then your bird is going to look a little bit small. So if you need to, add a little bit of length to these. No harm done. And then these, we've got the, this is the stack of the secondaries, and then the primaries are starting underneath. This one, sort of put this out a little bit more. See this primary compared to the tip of the secondary, and mine's too short. I'm going to push this out a little bit more. The underneath one is kind of okay. And then this heavy tail. There's lots and lots of feathers that we see comprising the tail. Okay, so it's kind of like, and you have the definition, with the Alula feathers. Just want to make these a little bit darker. I see these edges of the feathers. Because if we just heavy up these lines, then the feathers are still going to be distinct when we do our shading. And these coverts will come this way. This is the line upper back that I didn't like. Okay, now for the eye, let's put in, if you're happy with the size of the eye and its location, then let's put in the eye ring. I really don't want the eye to be too big. So we'll put the eye ring in as our border, so we know that when we're doing our shading, let's stay out of here, protect that area. I should have a little bit slope to the, okay. Let's get our colored pencil and begin, all right? So what I'd like you to do is just use light pressure, and the sunlight on his bill, we're just going to leave that in the clear, so we don't need to worry about trying to do something light there. Oh, I'll use my pen. Actually, if you want to, now is a good time to darken up the border between the upper and the lower mandible. And then we'll just go through and get down some base shading. It's such a gleam of the reflection of the sunlight off the smooth, small feathers in the head. But we will get some contrast in here. But I would like to see if we can just get down. Oh, come here, you. I'll just get down our base shading, and then we'll be a little bit more you know, conscientious or intentional. That's the word I want. When we go to add our contrast. Did you give him enough tummy? Because if you didn't, you can always pull this line down a little bit more. Let's get some very, very light shading down. And so I'll do the legs at the same time. Okay, if you've covered him, great. Now what we're going to do is go back and use a bit more pressure in areas where we want it to be dark. So we can contour out the bill a little bit. We can always use our pen for these small areas to get the depth of color that we want. And then underneath the chin, and just start working on this contrast between the bill and these feathers on the face. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to get some contrast between the bill and the face, and stay away from that eye ring. So I'm still not going super heavy for a couple of reasons. I don't want to be squishing my pencil crayon too much. Now, to show the distinction between the change in the angle between the upper back and the neck, what we're going to do is pick up your pencil crayon and do some heavy pressure all along that border, because we want to have his neck and his head dark along there, and the upper back is going to be like flatter. And we can also do some shading with our ink pen too. Oh, we can just try that a little bit now. I just want to have some nice depth here. We can sort of emphasize that with our pen. Remember, it's not a straight line. There is kind of a curve through here. And then there's the change in the ear coverts, where the ear is. Let's see if we can darken them up on his face. A little bit more. So we do want to have some nice contrast. If I was doing this for myself, I'd be using my pastels because I started out with colored pencil, but I just couldn't get the depth of color that I wanted. I really wanted something that had, you know, true black and true yellow and stuff like that. So I did switch to pan pastel, and you know, they have their own drawbacks as well, but I tell you, they can really come through with the coloring and the shading. Okay, so if we've got good contrast between the neck and the upper back, that's good. The next thing we want to do is have good contrast where the greater coverets are overlapping the secondaries. So what we want is they're casting a shadow. So this is a shadow, and we want to do that by going to the top of the secondaries and just pulling down with our colored pencil to show that those feathers are on top of the secondaries. And if that's not dark enough for you, we can also go back and just use our black pen . Make sure it's all about, you know, kind of getting that contrast. And there are other shadows and stuff going on with the tips of these other feathers. The other coverts that are at the top. And this right here, this is the upper back, and these are all, actually, these are called scapulas that are coming off the back and layering on top of the coverts. Oh, we're just doing the best we can. Let's pull this charcoal out a little bit more. And we will stay away from the lighter tips of those feathers. To help show the curve and also the markings. Though I tell you, when they show up in the garden, they look pretty solid black to me. And this border here, where the smaller coverts are casting a shadow. Okay, let's go see if we can darken his tummy. Let's use some extra pressure. Stay away from his thigh because it's sticking out and catching the light. Is this hand all nice and relaxed? Are you clenching your jaw? Grinding your teeth? That's all nice and tense and stressed at Simply Draw? I sure hope not. Okay, shade in this thigh because it's underneath his body and it's all in shadow. And then these primaries are casting a shadow on the tail. So we want to make sure that we get that in as well. And this is just all helping to show the different, like, I don't know if textures is the right word, but the fact that, I mean, he's not just all nicely, all the feathers aren't all nicely organized and tight together like for a duck or a loon, you know? Let's see if we can darken his tummy a little bit more. Just using slightly heavier pressure with my colored pencil and rotating it in my hand. Turn your paper if you like, because also that sort of like has the pencil, the colored pencil interacting with different contours of our page. So it sort of helps some of the color come down. See how I think I have them too big here? There's more feathers that are visible underneath. And I am going to use my pen to sort of really get some of these deeper shadows, especially where the upper tail feathers are casting a shadow on the ones underneath. Black and more black. But actually you can get down a little bit of shading with the ink and then bleed it out with the colored pencil. So we can shade in his leg a little bit. And then this heavy claw into the tree. And some of the fluffy bum feathers, which are actually called tail coverts. I would like let's do a little bit of contour with this thigh. And then I would like to have it nice and dark under his tummy. So if you have to use your pen like me, like that's good. And just see where you are in the sketch and add those little areas of shading to darken them up. And these heavy primaries, we're seeing the edges of these feathers go straight back, and then the shadow, that the wing is so big that his body is curving underneath it. It's all about getting this contrast with the colors. It really is the difference in the way the bird looks in your work. Take all the tension out of your hand. I think I'm just going to spend with my ink, because the colored pencil has, the bill, I should have had it come back into his face a little bit more. But I think I will just use a little bit of the pen, because it slides nicely over the paper, since I've got this layer of colored pencil, the wax down on it first. But the paper is still taking up some ink, so that's good. I just want to bump up some of this contrast here. Just be mindful of where you are. Just do your best with your shading. And stay away from that eye ring, but if you can just sort of like define that darkness around it, and if your eye ring is a bit too big, you could trim it down. He's not horrible. Actually, I'm quite pleased. This is, I will confess that for a number of our tutorials, I don't practice beforehand. But with this guy, oh boy, I knew I was going to have a couple practice runs at him. I mean, it wasn't like 10, but I tell you, man, it was rough going. So I'm really happy with the way he's kind of like turning out. How's the angle here with what you've done? Because it's tricky. There's this thickness through the neck. But also what you want to do is like have this. What do I want to do? I still say I've left his upper back too low. Well, let's see if I can raise it a little bit by having it darker on this side. And then just trying to just use light. I still want to have this. What I'm trying to do is raise his upper back because I feel like I don't have him, like it's okay, you know what I mean? Like just because he's got his neck kind of pulled in a little bit and with the angle, it looks like this. My sketch isn't, it's not out of, you know, the realm of possibility. But I just want that bulk and the hunch. He's shown up and he's thinking about things. That's what I want here. I like this. Now what I would like to do is there's contour in his back here, and I haven't got that contour in my sketch. So I just want to try to show how this is going to work or not. Oh, well, getting back to what I was saying about practicing, yeah, like no joke, man, this guy was a real challenge. Thanks, Paris, for kicking our butts here. But you know, like it was good because, as I say, we're doing a much larger bird, completely different anatomy and contours and all that kind of stuff. God, I really like him, you guys. Oh, maybe we should work on his bum a little bit more. Maybe shaded him in, and I shouldn't have had these lines so straight through here. That's all right. Keep rotating your pencil in your hand. Push out this gray. We'll leave these lighter. Let's use heavier pressure. I would like to try to get a bit more of the charcoal through here. And then let's go back and darken this row of feathers where the coverts are overlaying the secondaries. And if you've lost some of your edges, put those, so this is a good time to put those back too. Well, I don't know if I can fix them any better than this, to be honest with you. It's the kind of thing where the art teacher says, like, you've done what you can. In order to make it better, you've got to start again. Which I'm not gonna do. See this little bridge on his upper mandible? Put that in, please, and thank you. Okay, golly, come on, let's give ourselves a break and do the branch. I just need to do some scribbling for a change. Okay, let's shade in the under part of his leg. And we know that even though his claw is catching the light, it's be dark underneath his foot. Same over here. And the trunk, the tree, it's actually a fairly big limb that they're on, is going to be shaded. It's going to be a little bit darker under the bird for our sketch. Okay, that's what we want to do for our sketch. It doesn't quite look like that in the photo. But we do want to have this nice contrast between the body of the bird and where they're standing. See this white in here? That's what we want to have contrast between the dark branch and the dark of the bird. I don't know, I'm full of crap. I just need to relax and scribble and shade this, because I tell you, man, this has been a really, really good push for us. Someone asked for a peregrine falcon like a long time ago, and I'm like, oh dear, maybe in a couple of years, but certainly not for a while. Okay, so are you happy? Because I'm flipping like thrilled with this. I should have kept some of the crappy ones. Oh, come here. Telling me that I've been taking too long doing this. Because I tell you, some of the trials that I had done were pretty pretty lousy. What's that expression? Those who can't do, teach. Well, I got it that in spades. Okay, you gave him a great big thigh, I hope. I'm using like fairly solid pressure. Now, I'm not sure the paper is able to pick up much more tone from the wax of the pencil. But that's okay. I'm really, really happy with this, you guys. I'm really happy. Man, oh man. Paris, thank you so much for this challenge, because it was a good one. But I swear, the next tutorial that we're doing, we're gonna have a nice little cardinal. It's something that's a lot more manageable. But it's good to sort of like explore, push ourselves, blah, blah, right? Okay. So, before I wreck this guy, I'm gonna hang up the phone and say, as always, a huge thank you for your time, your company, everything that you do, you know, your comments, just, it's so encouraging, you guys. It's like, it means a lot to me. Trust me, it's, yeah, it's very meaningful. Well, I mean, I like this, and I'm gonna be doing it anyway, but I mean, it's like, it's super great having you guys along. So, okay, there we have it. The agony is over. Like, loosen up your hands, put your ears to your shoulders, go have some ice cream because you've deserved it. So, thanks, you guys. I'll see you next time.